Okay, so if you're watching the recording, we are just taking up our ratio, rates, and proportions homework right now. So as I was saying, we took up questions A and B in class already, or we did them together. Questions C, E, F, and G. We're gonna take up 2 of those. Which ones did you guys want to do? Talk here. A little louder. G, sure, we can do G, and another one that maybe you struggled with or you really liked. How about E? Let's do E and let's do G. Okay, so question E reads, the ratio of wins to losses to ties for Yan's soccer team was 3 to 2 to 1. If the team played 18 games, how many games did they win? So now in this question, the reason why I like this question is because it actually has 3 numbers and then a total. So how do we solve a question like this? It's actually done in a very similar way. So this is question E. What we're going to do first is we're going to write the words wins to losses to ties and then the numbers. What I'm just going to do is I'm going to take a picture so I can scroll down and I can look at my phone. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll down. Now, you guys, as I'm marking your quizzes, I also realize when there's a specific format, I want you to try to use that format. And when I'm trying to make helpful suggestions in your quizzes. So for example, it's really important to work down, for example, it's really important that you show all your work in one line, not different lines. So for these types of questions, the format that I'm showing you is what I expect from you. So the first thing I want you to do is write down the ratio in words. So the question is talking about wins to losses to ties. That means the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write wins dot losses dot ties, and then the hidden number in this question would be talk here in words. What would it be in words? Yeah, the total number of games, that would be our hidden number. Now they gave us numbers, so our wins are 3, our losses are 2, and our ties are 1, and the total number of games is 6. I always say the first bit of information is the imaginary information, because usually in a season there aren't just 6 games. This is sort of like the imaginary ratio. If the team played 18 games, so now we're talking about real numbers. If they played 18 games, do you think that's going to go under wins, losses, ties, or total? Yeah, that's the total number of games that they've played. The question is then asking, how many games did they win? So am I going to put the X under wins, losses, or ties? Yeah, because we are concerned about the wins. Do we care about losses or ties in this question? No, that's insignificant information. Don't erase it. You can keep it there. But in this question, we really don't care for it. We're not really going to do much about it. As soon as I write an X, I need a let statement. So I'm going to say let X represent games won, or games they win, or however you want to write it, as long as your let statement and therefore statement are related to the question that the question's asking. Okay, now how do I make a proportion? Well, I'm going to look at these numbers over here, and I'm going to look at these numbers over here. I'm going to go to the side and I'm going to make 2 fractions out of them. So I'm going to write 3 over X is equal to 6 over 18. This number divided by this number is equal to this number divided by this number. I told you guys in virtual class, there are many different ways you can do this. You may go 3 over 6 is equal to X over 18, or X over 3 is equal to 18 over 6. Like many different ways. I think the easiest way is just to write it exactly as you've written it in the chart. Okay, how do we solve a question like this? Well, we're going to multiply the 2 numbers that are across from one another, and we're going to divide by the number that is across from the X. So what is that going to look like? It's going to be X is equal to 3 times 18 divided by 6. Has anyone already done the math for this? What did you guys get when you did this? Makamai? 54 divided by 6, which is 9. Can anyone confirm that they also got the same answer? Good. So now we need a therefore statement that is going to answer our question. And our question was, our question was, how many games did they win? So you're going to write the little 3 dots mean therefore, Yan's team won 9 games. Is it similar to a solution that you guys had? Okay. I'll resume the recording. We're gonna try question G. Okay, so we'll do this one a little bit faster because I know most of you guys have done your homework. So it says the ratio of men to women at a frat party is usually 6 to 5. So if I'm writing this in words, the ratios are going to be men to women, and our hidden number is going to be the total. So our imaginary ratios are going to be 6 men and 5 women and 11 people, but usually for a party, 11 people is not really a lot. So these are our imaginary numbers. Our real numbers are if there were 121 people at a party one evening, so that's more similar, that's more realistic, I guess. How many men and how many women were there? So now we're gonna have to do this question in 2 different ways. I'm going to let X represent men and I'm gonna let Y represent women. And I basically have to solve this question using 2 different equations. I'll show you how to do that. So I'm gonna have 2 let statements. Let X represent women, men at the party. And let Y represent women at the party. Now, if you didn't want to use X and Y, you just wanted to use X, that's fine. You're basically just going to have to do the question in like 2 different times. But I'm going to use 2 different variables so that I can kind of get it done in one shot. Okay, so let's first go over here and talk about the men at the party. If I'm talking about men, I am looking at these numbers and I'm looking at the total. I can't use this because I don't have enough information. You always need 3 numbers and this one has a Y, so that's not going to work. So when I'm making my ratio over here, it's going to be 6 over X is equal to 11 over 121. Okay, can I get a volunteer to tell me what numbers I'm going to multiply and what am I going to divide? Mathusin? Yep. Good. Now, you guys, you can expect numbers like this. These are not big numbers, and I expect you to remember how to multiply and divide like numbers like this. So let's work it out over here. So we're going to have 121 times 6. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. Carry the 1. 6 times 1 is 6 plus 1 is going to be 7. So over here, we're going to get 726 over 11. Okay, now we're going to divide this, and you know, if we're talking about men and women, you're not going to get any decimals. You're hopefully going to get whole numbers. So let's go and try this. 726 divided by 11. I know the closest number to 72 is going to be 6. 11 times 6 is 66. Let's subtract these, and we're going to get 6, bring down this 6. So this is going to be another 6. X is equal to 66. You will not be allowed to use calculators on this assessment, but like I said, you have a rough piece of paper and the numbers I'm going to give you are going to work out to nice whole numbers, but you may have to do a little bit of work of multiplying and dividing. Questions about that or concerns or comments? No. All right, now let's figure out our women. We can do this question a hard way or an easy way. We can do it the hard way where we set up the ratios using 5y and 11 over 121. Or what we can do is, if I know there are 66 men and I don't know there are 121 people at the party, how am I going to solve for women? What would I do? Najib? Yeah, so to figure out the women, which I've represented by Y, I'm going to take 121 and I'm going to subtract 66. Okay, again, I'm just gonna go to my rough sheet over here. 121 subtract 66. That's gonna be a 5, and that's also gonna be a 5. So I get that the women are gonna be 55. Did you guys get that as an answer? Okay. Okay, so did I write a let statement, by the way? I had, right? Okay. So now we're ready for our final answer, which is going to be, therefore, the question was asking how many men and how many women are there? There are 66 men and 55